Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a really universal experience, I think. It's that moment,
Yeah.
when you're trying to speak English and you know exactly the complex, nuanced thing you want to say in your own language,
Yeah.
but the English words just poof.
Gone.
Oh, yeah. Blank screen moment, total blank screen. It's like this linguistic white noise washes over you, and you're just grasping, trying to find the right expression. And honestly, it can be pretty frustrating.
Super frustrating. Like your internal translator just decided to take a coffee break.
Exactly. Took the day off. We've all been stuck there, haven't we? In
Yeah.
that sort of linguistic limbo. And that's precisely why we wanted to really explore what we're calling your survival guide for everyday English conversation today. Now, let's be clear. The mission here isn't to just dump a massive dictionary of phrases on you. That's just overwhelming,
All right.
right?
Information overload. Not helpful.
Instead, we're aiming for something much more strategic, more empowering, actually. We want to uncover and really master the foundational phrases. Think of them as the skeleton.
The framework.
Exactly, the framework that holds up pretty much all our daily English communication. The idea is to give you the tools, that mental toolkit, so you feel genuinely confident, articulate, so you're never caught speechless when it really counts. Because we really believe that confidence, true confidence in a language, it doesn't just magically appear.
It builds.
It builds up steadily, phrase by carefully chosen phrase. And I'm genuinely excited to dig into this because these aren't just like random sentences from some dusty textbook.
No way.
These are the living, breathing expressions people actually use. They help you connect. They unlock all sorts of real-world interactions. Think about those aha moments. When you realize one simple, well-placed phrase can completely change how you handle a situation.
Totally.
Whether it's just ordering coffee or, navigating a tricky disagreement, it's not just about grammar rules. It's about social fluency. And that feels incredibly empowering.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating, I think, and maybe often overlooked, is that once you get a handle on these core structures, these essential frameworks, it massively reduces the cognitive load of speaking.
Right. Less mental juggling.
Yeah. Instead of trying to build every single sentence from scratch, you've got these sort of ready-made mental pathways, and that frees up your brain power, right? So you can focus on the content, on what you actually want to say, your ideas, your personality, not just struggling to find the basic words. These phrases are like linguistic shortcuts.
Yeah.
They lead straight to sounding more natural, more engaged. They're more than just words. They're social tools, really.
That's such a great way to put it, moving from struggle to strategy. Okay, let's dive right in. Let's kick things off where basically every human connection starts. Greetings. And the art, because it is an art, of small talk.
The starting line.
Right, because every new person you meet, every casual chat, every formal meeting, it all begins with that simple exchange. Hello. But the real challenge, I think, often starts after that initial hello, doesn't it?
Yeah. What next?
How do you gracefully move beyond that sometimes kind of stiff, maybe overused, hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm fine, might not even be the most natural fit for the greeting you just heard.
Exactly. It's subtle.
It's about more than just translating words. It's like calibrating to the culture, isn't it?
Precisely. It's moving from just making yourself understood to actually sounding, natural, engaged. And this is where those subtle nuances make a huge difference. Because the underlying intent of many English greetings isn't always a literal check on your well-being.
Interesting. Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. The bedrock greetings. Formal situations, neutral ones, you really can't go wrong with hello.
Can't go wrong. It's the classic.
Universal, works pretty much anywhere. Business meeting, asking a stranger for directions. Hello, Fitz. And then, of course, you've got the time-specific ones. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Always appropriate.
Always safe.
They show politeness, yeah, and just an awareness of the time of day. They're your safe, reliable way into almost any interaction.
And, hello itself has a bit of a funny history. It wasn't really the standard greeting until, the late 1800s?
Really?
Yeah, largely thanks to the telephone.
Yeah.
Before that, people might have said hello or even ahoy on the phone initially, or older things like God be with thee.
Wow. So hello is kind of a modern invention, relatively speaking.
Yeah, and now it's global. So when you say hello, you're kind of tapping into this linguistic tradition. But these greetings, hello, good morning, they also carry a certain social weight, right? They set up a polite distance. Good for first meetings or when you don't know someone well.
Setting a respectful tone. Got it.
Exactly. From the get-go.
That's a great little historical tidbit. Shows even basic words have stories. Okay, but then we often shift gears, right, into the informal zone. And that's where things get maybe a bit more dynamic and where sometimes learners feel a bit less sure-footed.
More variables.
Hi or hey, clearly more casual. Good for friends, family, maybe colleagues you know well. They invite a more relaxed chat. But what about things like, what's up? Or how's it going? You hear these all the time among friends. Super common.
Ubiquitous. Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting. And where, like you said, there's a common mix-up. The typical response isn't, I'm fine, is it?
No. And this is like such a cornerstone insight if you want to sound natural. What's up?
Yeah.
Is very rarely a genuine question about your health or your mood.
Okay. So what is it asking?
It's more like a really casual, low-stakes what's happening or anything new or just, hey.
Just acknowledging you.
Yeah. So when someone asks what's up, they're basically opening a channel for a quick, casual update or just a mutual acknowledgement. Responding with a very literal, I'm fine, thank you, can sometimes sound a bit, well, like a direct translation, a bit unnatural.
Okay, so what are the natural responses then?
Much more common is something like not much.
Yeah.
Implying, nothing major is new or nothing much you, which is great because it bounces it back.
Keeps the ball rolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even a simple good you can work sometimes. But the key is remembering the spirit of the question isn't a health checkup. Just making that small adjustment instantly makes you sound much more, in the flow or more native-like.
That's a huge difference. It really changes the whole rhythm of that initial exchange. Okay, so now let's talk about directly asking, how are you? Because even this super standard phrase has its own layers. How are you? Okay, that's the standard. Always correct general question. But what if you bump into someone you haven't seen for ages? A friend you run into at the grocery store after, 6 months?
Yeah. Perfect scenario for that. How have you been is absolutely spot on.
Okay, how have you been?
And this phrase is a beautiful little example of grammar doing real work. It uses the present perfect tense, have been. And that's not just fancy grammar for the sake of it. It's actually carrying a lot of meaning. It implies a period of time, right? A continuous state since you last saw.
Yeah.
It connects that past meeting to this present moment. You're essentially asking about their life, their well-being, their experiences from that last time up until right now.
Wow.
So understanding that tense helps you ask a more specific and maybe even more heartfelt question. It kind of says, I remember when we last met, and I'm curious about the time in between.
Okay, so it's not just a synonym for how are you. It carries that extra weight, acknowledging time has passed. That's a brilliant example of grammar serving meaning and social connection. Beyond that, you could also ask something broader, like, how's everything?
More general about their life.
Or even simpler, what's new? Just a direct ask for updates.
Straightforward, yeah.
Okay, and then responding. Responding to, how are you? Or how have you been? Moving beyond just, I'm fine. That can inject so much more life into the chat, can it?
Absolutely. Inject some personality.
So if you're genuinely feeling good, positive responses.
Well, I'm doing great, thanks.
Yeah.
And you is always good. Enthusiastic, polite, and crucially, it asks back, turns it into a dialogue.
Right. Keeps it going.
Couldn't be better. That's high energy, very positive.
Yeah.
But, maybe use it when you actually mean it, or it could sound a bit much or sarcastic.
Yeah, maybe save that for a really good day and for just, casually positive.
Pretty good. Works great. Relax, positive vibe.
Now, you mentioned I'm fine, thanks. You said, well, it's correct, it can sometimes sound a bit stiff.
Yeah, stiff is a good word. Or sometimes even like you're slightly reluctant to say more. To a native speaker, it can occasionally signal, okay, I've answered, let's move on. Or I don't really want to elaborate.
Interesting.
It can sometimes feel like a bit of a closed door, conversationally speaking, whereas other responses feel more like open invitations to continue chatting.
Okay, so if we want to avoid sounding maybe a little robotic or like we're shutting things down, what are some more natural and neutral options for those times when things are just, okay, nothing amazing, nothing terrible?
Not too bad is incredibly common.
Yeah.
Supernatural. It just perfectly suggests things are generally all right. No major dramas, but maybe nothing super exciting to report either.
Not too bad. I hear that a lot.
You do. It's honest without being negative.
Yeah.
Another really good one, maybe slightly more common in British English, but used everywhere, is can't complain.
Ah, yeah, can't complain.
which basically implies things are good enough. No major problems have popped up. Both of those feel much more authentic, I think, and more open to further conversation than just a flat, I'm fine.
They do feel more open, like they invite maybe a little follow-up question, unlike I'm fine, which feels very final.
Exactly. They leave the door ajar.
Have you ever felt like your own I'm fine just didn't quite capture the mood or fit the tone? I know I have. Using something like not too bad or can't complain feels like you're actually sharing a tiny, subtle slice of how things are without, launching into your life story.
Right. It's nuanced. It's conversational. It's relatable.
All right, so we've gracefully navigated the opening sequence greetings, small talk. Let's transition now to a really empowering set of phrases, the ones for asking for help and information. Because, let's face it, knowing how to confidently handle situations when you're lost or confused or just need a hand, that's not just practical.
It's huge for confidence.
Totally confidence boosting, especially if you're, say, traveling in a new city or just navigating any unfamiliar environment. This is your essential navigator's kit.
Absolutely indispensable kit. These phrases are like universal keys.
Yeah.
They let you get what you need reliably, even if you don't know the specific word for the thing or place you're after.
Right.
They bridge those knowledge gaps. They empower you to be independent.
Okay, so first things first. Before you ask for anything, you usually need to get someone's attention, politely.
Step one, yeah.
Excuse me. But that's got to be the go-to, right? Universal, polite, works for strangers. Almost always the right choice.
Unimpeachable, as you said. Signals your intention clearly and politely.
And if you feel like maybe you're interrupting someone who looks busy or is already talking,
Then maybe something slightly more deferential, like, sorry to bother you, but it just adds that extra layer of consideration. Softens the interruption.
shows you're aware you might be intruding a little.
Exactly. And a quick pronunciation note here.
Excuse me.
The stress is on the second syllable, right? Excuse me.
Not excuse
Yeah,
me.
right. Getting that stress right makes it sound much more natural, much more polite. These little opening lines, they're basic social etiquette. They signal respect right away. Crucial stuff.
Okay, got their attention. Now for the real workhorses of daily life. Asking for specific information. Could you tell me where the bathroom is? A classic, you'll use that one.
Guaranteed?
Or do you know what time the store opens? Essential for errands. If you're looking for something specific, I'm looking for is super direct and clear, like I'm looking for a pharmacy.
Simple, effective.
And when you're genuinely turned around, how do I get to the train station? Absolutely vital for directions.
And these phrases really show the power of functional language, don't they? Even if you blank on the name for, say, a shop that sells pens and paper.
A stationer's.
Right. Even if you forget stationers, you can still say, I'm looking for a place where I can buy stationery. And people will understand the structure itself guides them.
That's a great point. The framework helps even when specific words fail. Okay, now let's unpack something you mentioned earlier, politeness. Because there's a subtle but really significant difference in how polite certain words make you sound when you're asking for help or a favor. It often comes down to modal verbs.
Yes, modals are key here.
And they truly matter in shaping how your request lands.
Absolutely. This is where the nuanced power of a word like could really shines. Now, can you, it's fine. It's common. People use it all the time, especially informally. Can you give me a hand with this box? Perfectly normal.
Right.
But could you instantly dials up the politeness level, the deference. Could is generally seen as more formal, softer, and just inherently more respectful.
Softer, I like that.
Yeah. Think about the difference in feel between, say, a slightly blunt, can you help me, and a gentler, more inviting, could you help me, please?
Big difference in tone.
Huge. The second one sounds less like a demand, more like a collaborative request.
Yeah.
And it shows you've got a good handle on the language because you're using these social nuances, you're showing respect. It's not about being weak, it's about being tactful.
So it's not just grammar, it's social skill. Sounding considerate, socially aware.
Exactly. And hey, if you want to go even further, maybe you're asking for a really big favor or interrupting someone who's clearly swamped.
Extra polite mode.
Extra polite mode engaged. You can use would you mind. Now here's a super important grammar point. It trips up a lot of learners, but getting it right. Chef's kiss for polite English.
Okay, what is it?
When you use would you mind, wig, the verb that comes next always needs the ing form, the gerund.
Ah.
So it's would you mind helping me with this report, not would you mind help me, or would you mind to help me.
Got it. Would you mind helping? Would you mind opening? Would you mind waiting?
Perfect. Mastering that little grammatical point, alongside knowing when to use can versus could versus would you mind, shows a really sophisticated grasp of English social dynamics. It signals that you value the other person's time and effort.
That is genuinely fascinating, how that slight shift in phrasing can totally change the perception. Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine you're in a new city, totally lost. Maybe your phone died, you need to find your hotel.
A stressful situation.
Totally. But knowing these phrases, starting with a polite excuse me, then using could you tell me, or even would you mind directing me, it changes everything. It transforms that potentially confusing, anxious experience into something manageable, empowering even.
Yeah.
You feel like you have a map, not just for the streets, but for the conversation itself. It turns anxiety into agency, doesn't it?
Beautifully put, from anxiety to agency. That's exactly what these phrases do.
All right, so we've nailed polite requests. Let's pivot now to part 3, expressing opinions. Agreeing, and maybe even more crucially, disagreeing. Because sharing your thoughts, your unique take on things, that's essential for any interesting dynamic conversation. Nobody wants to just nod along all the time, right?
Right. Passive agreement gets boring fast.
But expressing those opinions, especially when they differ from others, doing it respectfully, constructively, that's a real art form in English.
It absolutely is. This is where we move beyond just swapping information into genuine interaction, into critical thinking, maybe even deeper connection. It's about adding your voice to the discussion, meaningfully, challenging ideas without, challenging the person.
Okay, so first, just giving your opinion. We've got some pretty straightforward options here,
Yeah, the basics are pretty simple.
I think, or
Fix it.
believe. Common, direct, good starting points. You can be a bit more formal maybe and signal it's clearly personal with, in my opinion.
Frames it clearly as subjective.
The way I see it, that offers a personal angle too. Maybe invites the other person to consider your viewpoint, and maybe a slightly more conversational one, sometimes used when you think you have a strong point, is if you ask me.
Yeah, that one subtly draws attention, like, listen up, here's my take.
Right. It suggests you've got something distinct to add.
And these little phrases, I think, in my opinion, they're really valuable conversational signposts. They let the listener know you're about to share a personal view, not state a hard fact.
Good point. Manages expectations.
Exactly. Avoids misunderstandings. Creates that space for subjective input.
Okay, now, agreeing. The simple ways are easy enough. I agree. That's true. You're right. Clear, effective.
Does the job.
But what if you really agree? You want to strongly support their point. Emphasize you're on the same page.
Yeah. You've got some great, more powerful options for strong agreement. I couldn't agree more is fantastic.
Couldn't agree more.
It literally means you agree so completely, it's impossible to agree any further. Very emphatic. And then you have those short, punchy affirmations. Absolutely, exactly, precisely, very strong.
Yeah, they signal complete, unwavering agreement, often with a nice feeling of shared understanding. Just, maybe don't overuse them, or they can start to sound a bit automatic. Use them when you mean it.
Good tip. Okay, here we go. The big one, where it gets really interesting and sometimes challenging for learners. Disagreeing politely. This is such a crucial social skill. In any language, maybe, but especially in English, where directness can sometimes be tricky. There's a very fine line, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. A fine line between a healthy debate and an awkward argument.
So here's maybe the most important piece of advice we can give. Whatever you do, never start with, no, you're wrong.
Please don't.
Right. That's not a conversation starter. It's a conversation ender. It just puts people on the defensive instantly, immediately. Shuts down the dialogue. Makes the other person feel attacked, not engaged. Instead, thankfully, we have a whole toolkit of strategies to express a different view while keeping things respectful, keeping the goodwill, keeping the conversation open.
Okay, let's hear them. What's in the toolkit?
Well, phrases like, I see your point, but, are brilliant. First, you acknowledge their perspective. You validate their contribution. Then you introduce your contrasting idea.
Acknowledge first.
Yes, it builds a bridge, right? Creates connection. Rather than just putting up a wall of opposition, shows you actually listened.
I love that, building a bridge, not a wall. What else? How else can we soften disagreement?
You can use gentler phrasing like, I'm not so sure about that. It expresses doubt or uncertainty, not outright contradiction. It invites more discussion, less confrontational.
Much less. Or you could simply state your position differently. I see it differently. This says you have another view, without directly saying they are incorrect.
I see it differently. Simple, clear. Yeah. That's a valid point, however. Is similar to, I see your point, but Again, validate first, then offer your counter. Shows you appreciate their logic before adding your own.
Validate, then counter. Good pattern.
For even subtler disagreement, maybe focus on a concern. I understand what you're saying, but I'm a bit concerned about X. This shifts focus to a potential issue, not just a direct no.
Focus on the issue, not the person.
Exactly. And finally, if you just fundamentally disagree and you realize you're not going to convince each other,
The polite exit ramp.
the polite exit ramp, let's agree to disagree. It's wonderfully mature, polite, and universally understood. It ends the debate respectfully without leaving bad feelings, recognizes you both have valid but different views.
Let's agree to disagree. So useful sometimes. Okay, this brings up a bigger point, doesn't it? How the specific language we choose can totally shape the nature of our disagreements. It feels like these phrases aren't just about being polite. They're about encouraging actual constructive dialogue, right? Promoting critical thinking, avoiding personal attacks.
Precisely. The words you pick directly influence the emotional climate, the level of respect felt, and ultimately the success or failure of that disagreement. These phrases promote active listening, mutual respect, a willingness to actually explore different viewpoints, which makes the conversation richer instead of just shutting it down.
Yeah.
They allow for, an intellectual discussion, not just a shouting match. It's about valuing the exchange itself, the process of understanding, maybe even more than just winning or being right.
It's like the difference between saying your idea is bad versus how can we build on that idea, or have we considered this other angle?
Exactly. The intent shifts completely. It becomes collaborative, even in disagreement.
Wow. Conversational diplomacy. That's what it is. Okay, brilliant. Let's shift gears again. Let's talk about something generally more lighthearted and fun, making invitations and suggestions.
Oh, the social action phrases.
Yeah. This is the language of getting together, making plans, asking someone out. It's how we connect and build relationships beyond just talking about things.
Absolutely. These are the phrases that turn talk into action. Talking about stuff versus doing stuff with people. Forging those shared experiences. Huge for social bonding.
Okay, so inviting someone, what's the go-to polite way?
Would you like to? Is probably your safest bet. Most polite, very common, universally understood.
Example.
Would you like to get a coffee sometime next week? It's open-ended, sounds welcoming, low pressure.
Nice, and more casual. For friends.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Is more direct. Perfectly fine for friends or people you know well. Do you want to see that new movie on Friday? Totally normal.
Okay. And what if you want to sort of test the waters first before making a specific plan?
Ah, smart move.
Yeah.
You can check availability or general interest first with, are you free?
Right.
Are you free for dinner next week? Or just, are you free this weekend? It's a great preliminary step.
Yeah.
It lets the other person signal if they're busy without having to directly turn down a specific invitation, which can sometimes feel awkward.
That is clever. Low pressure way to gauge things.
Very strategic. And again, quick pronunciation reminder. Would you? Often squishes together in fast speech. Sounds like woo-o-jew.
Woo-be-o-jew, like to get coffee.
Exactly. Makes it flow much smoother.
Got it. Okay, now, making suggestions. Not quite an invitation, but proposing an idea.
Right. Collaborative ideas. How about?
Yeah.
Or what about? Followed by a verb with jing are super flexible. Great options.
Give me an example.
Okay, beautiful sunny day. You could say, wow, it's gorgeous out. How about going for a walk in the park? It's open, invites agreement, or alternatives.
How about going? Okay. And softer suggestions, less direct.
We could is perfect for that. Very soft, implies zero pressure. We could order a pizza tonight if you fancy it. Just throwing an idea out there. Easy to say no to if they're not feeling it.
We could.
Yeah.
Nice and gentle. And more direct. Like, you're pretty keen on the idea.
Then let's is your friend.
Yeah.
Implies a shared intention, a bit more enthusiasm, maybe even a decision, like a decisive, okay, let's go grab some lunch.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I actually remember a time, way back when I was still learning English. I tried to invite someone to a concert using this really awkward, literal translation of an idiom from my language.
Oh, dear. How did that go?
They just stared at me. Total confusion, like I'd sprouted antenna. It was so embarrassing. These phrases we're talking about, they're like the socially accepted keys, aren't they? They just unlock interactions so much more smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And they neatly sidestep all those potential misunderstandings from trying to translate word for word. They're the agreed-upon social scripts.
That's exactly it. They're the established conventional ways people make invitations and suggestions in English. Trying to invent your own way, word by word. It often sounds unnatural, maybe confusing, maybe just off. Using these ready-made structures makes you instantly easier to understand and, crucially, more relatable. Less effort for everyone involved.
Relatable. That's a good word for it. Okay, speaking of smooth interactions, let's talk about the real magic words. The ones that keep everything running smoothly, keep relationships healthy, keep things human, apologizing and thanking.
Ah, yes. Absolutely fundamental.
These aren't just niceties, are they? They feel like the absolute cornerstones of respectful, positive relationships in English and probably everywhere.
They are the essential social lubricants.
Yeah.
They smooth over bumps, they express gratitude, they repair minor damage, and they maintain positive connections. Essential for any kind of ongoing interaction.
Okay, let's break down apologizing.
Hmm.
Maybe by seriousness. For tiny things, like you accidentally bump someone on a crowded train.
Quick, almost reflexive, sorry, or excuse me, often used interchangeably in that exact context. Just a quick acknowledgement.
Okay. And if it's still minor, but maybe with friends, you spill a tiny bit of coffee or forget something trivial.
Something informal like "my bad"
Mhm.
is super common, especially in American English. It's a quick way to take responsibility without making a huge deal out of it.
My bad. Quick and easy.
Concise, owns it immediately.
Oh, what about more serious stuff? Or things that have a bigger impact? You need more than my bad then.
Definitely. "I'm so sorry" expresses deeper, more genuine regret. Shows you recognize the impact.
The so adds weight.
It does. If you need to be formal, specific, and very clear about what you're sorry for, then "I would apologize for" is the structure. I want to apologize for the delay in responding. Formal, clear.
Okay.
And if you really need to take direct ownership, leave no doubt it was your mistake. It was my fault. Direct, clear admission of error.
It was my fault. Takes responsibility.
Yeah. And the key here, I think, is matching the apology to the situation. And sincerity matters.
Right.
Casual "my bad" for a big screw-up, that would be insulting. Just like a super formal "I wish to tender my deepest apologies for jostling your arm" for a tiny bump would sound weird.
Yeah, context is everything.
Context, impact, and the right level of formality. And sometimes, of course, a real apology needs more than words, maybe offer to fix things. But the words are the starting point.
Words are the start. Got it. Okay, switching to the positive side. Thanking. Basics, thank you. Casual, thanks. Easy enough.
The essentials.
But how do we show more appreciation? Deeper gratitude.
Just adding so much makes a difference. Thank you so much. Adds warmth, emphasis.
Simple but effective.
Very. If you want to convey really genuine, heartfelt gratitude, "I really appreciate it," is excellent. Says you truly value what they did, their time, their effort, their kindness.
I really appreciate it. That feels good to say and good to hear.
It does. And if someone does you a really big favor, something significant that really helped you out, and you want to signal you'll return the favor someday,
Yeah.
"I owe you one." It's
Yep.
common, informal, friendly. Expresses gratitude, plus that sense of future reciprocity.
I owe you one. Nice.
Yeah.
Like a friendly IOU.
Exactly. And again, these aren't just politeness. They build goodwill. They strengthen relationships. They make people feel seen and valued for their efforts. Essential stuff.
Totally essential. Okay, but here's the flip side. How do we respond when someone thanks us? Because sometimes that can catch people off guard, and a weird response can kind of kill the good vibe.
That's a great point. You need a smooth response to thank you.
So what are the options?
The classic, always correct, always safe choice is "you're welcome," can't go wrong, works in any situation, your reliable default.
You're welcome. Got it.
But for more casual settings, with friends, colleagues, "no problem" or "no worries" are super common. Very natural, relaxed. They imply it was easy, no big deal to help.
No problem. No worries. Yeah, I hear those all the time.
If you want to sound a bit more formal, maybe more elegant, and genuinely convey you enjoyed helping, "my pleasure" is lovely. Gracious.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I like that one. It sounds nice.
It does. And finally, "any time" is friendly and suggests you're happy to help again in the future. Builds that sense of ongoing support.
Anytime. Also very friendly. Okay, so several good options depending on the context and vibe.
Exactly. Having choices makes it easier to respond naturally.
These phrases really are social lubricants, aren't they? Keeping things smooth, preventing friction, making interactions feel more positive, more connected.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better.
Ooh, okay, wow. We've covered a lot. Greetings, asking for help, opinions, invitations, apologies, thanks. But there's one more piece of the puzzle, often overlooked, I think, but so important for sounding polished, gracefully getting out of a conversation.
Ah, the exit strategy. Yes. Crucial.
Let's talk about the underestimated art of ending a conversation. Because honestly, who hasn't been stuck in a chat, looking at their watch, wishing they knew how to politely escape without being rude or awkward?
We've all been there.
These phrases give you back control. Control of your time, your interactions.
And knowing how to end well is just as vital as starting well. Maybe more so sometimes. It preserves the positive feeling of the chat you just had. A clumsy exit can sour things quickly.
Okay, so how do we do it gracefully? What are the strategies?
One of the most common and effective ways is to give a brief, polite reason for leaving. Well, I should probably get going. I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. Or, anyway, I'll let you get back to your work. Looks like you're busy.
Give a reason. Makes sense.
Yeah, it provides context, makes the ending feel less abrupt, less personal, shows consideration for their time, too. It avoids that awkward silence where no one knows what to do next.
Okay, what else?
You should also definitely show you enjoyed the chat. Phrases like, "It was great talking to you," or "It was really nice catching up," are perfect.
Leaves a positive final impression.
Exactly. Reinforces the connection. For looking ahead or just parting, "Let's talk again soon," or simply "Take care," work well.
Standard goodbyes.
And then the farewells themselves. "Goodbye," "Bye," standard. But here's one I really like. It's super versatile and friendly. Have a good one.
Oh yeah, have a good one.
It works any time of day. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. It covers them all. Always sounds friendly, approachable.
That really is a great one. The Swiss Army knife of farewells.
Yeah.
Knowing these exit lines, it just gives you so much more confidence, doesn't it? You're not just trapped, hoping it ends. You can gently, politely guide it to a close. Feeling good about it, respectful.
Exactly. It's about agency, managing the flow, positive beginning, productive middle, and a gracious, controlled end. That's the mark of a really fluent communicator, way beyond just textbook grammar.
Okay, so we know what to say. But just knowing the words isn't always enough, is it? Making them sound natural, making them flow, that's the next step. Let's touch on some key pronunciation points, again, woven into this, because how you say these phrases makes a massive difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
It's not just about being understood. It's confidence, sincerity, sounding natural.
Yeah.
Tiny sound changes can shift meaning, even intent.
Right. Let's revisit that classic challenge, can versus can't. We mentioned it briefly, but it's worth hammering home. It's subtle for learners, but vital. When you say I can go, the can is usually unstressed, quick, the vowel sound shrinks, right? Almost like te-en.
Yeah, often swallowed in fast speech. A crick mail.
But I can't go. That's different. The can't is longer, more stress.
Definitely no longer, more emphatic. And that final test sound? It's often not a clear T sound, especially in American English. It's often cut off with a glottal stop.
A glottal stop, like a little catch in your throat?
Exactly, like you stop the air briefly. A can't ten, very common. But even more important, with can't, often the whole rhythm of the sentence changes to emphasize the negative. It's not just that one word. The stress pattern of the whole phrase shifts. I can't go. Listen for that overall musicality, not just the vowel sound in can't. That's how you really nail it.
Fascinating. It's the whole tune, not just one note. Okay, I'm thinking about could you and would you blending, where we said kje and oje and would you. How do people practice that?
Listen closely to native speakers, movies, podcasts, real life. You'll hear that blending all the time in casual chat. To practice, maybe exaggerated at first, really squash could and you together. Could you, could check that?
It's weird saying it slow.
It does. But then soften it back to kyoju. Same for would you, would you. It's not just about speed. It's about smoothness. Avoiding that choppy, word by word sound.
Smoothness. Got it. Okay, fantastic pronunciation tips woven in there. Now let's bring this all home. Practical practice strategies. Because knowing is one thing, doing it automatically in a real conversation is another.
The gap between passive knowledge and active skill.
Exactly. So first idea, the scenario challenge. Pick a category we talked about, say, asking for help or disagreeing politely. Then really picture a situation. You're lost downtown, or you're in a meeting, you have a different idea, got the scene.
Visualize it.
Then, and this is key practice, the phrases out loud. Not just silently reading them, say them like you mean it, like you're really there.
Yes. Active imaginative practice. That's what moves it from just understanding to being able to produce it when you need it, like a mini role play with yourself. The more you simulate, the more automatic it becomes.
Okay, second idea. The conversation translator. Next time you're watching an English TV show, a movie, listening to a podcast, even just overhearing a chat, actively listen for these essential phrases. How many can you spot? You'll probably be surprised how often they appear once you're tuned in.
It's like learning a secret code, then suddenly seeing it everywhere reinforces how common and useful they are.
Definitely. So we'd love to hear from you listeners too. After exploring all this, which category of phrases do you find most useful? Or maybe most tricky in your own English conversations? And thinking back, can you remember a time when learning a specific English phrase really saved the day? Or just made a big difference in a real situation? Let us know.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of our exploration today. We journeyed through greetings, the nuances of small talk, giving you options beyond "I'm fine." We built your navigator's kit for asking for help and info, really highlighting modal verbs like could and would you mind helping.
We dove into expressing opinions and those crucial strategies for disagreeing politely, building bridges, not walls. Then we hit the social side. Invitations, suggestions, and those vital magic words for apologies and thanks.
The social lubricants.
Exactly. And all along, we sprinkled in pronunciation tips to help you sound natural, confident.
And if we pull back, look at the big picture. The core idea we really hope you take away is this. Becoming fluent in English isn't really about memorizing the entire dictionary. That's impossible.
Yeah.
And frankly, kind of paralyzing.
Right.
Real fluency and the confidence that comes with it is much more about having the right tools, these essential flexible phrase structures. They let you navigate conversations smoothly, with social smarts, with grace. They're like your anchors in the sometimes choppy waters of a new language. They let you connect, engage, express yourself effectively, even while your vocabulary is still growing.
Anchors, I like that. Reliable framework.
Exactly, a socially calibrated framework, so you can focus on the human connection, because ultimately that's what language is for, right?
Beautifully said. So, final practical tips for everyone listening. Start small. Don't try to swallow this whole guide at once. Pick a few phrases from each section. Make them yours.
Master them one by one.
Listen actively. Really tune your ear to how native speakers use these in real life. Notice the rhythm, the intonation, and please, don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah.
Every chat, every little stumble, it's not failure, it's data, it's learning.
Every interaction is practice.
Totally. And practice out loud. The more you say these phrases, the more natural they feel until they're just part of how you speak, second nature. And that's our exploration for today. Remember, communicating effectively in English. It's often less about perfect grammar every single time and much more about confidently connecting with people using a well-chosen, smart set of phrases. So, what conversational challenge will you tackle next with these new tools? If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to explore the other videos on our channel to continue your English practice.